From County College of Morris, this is CCM All Access.
Hello, and welcome to Season 8 of CCM All Access, the show that brings you news and information from the County College of Morris, students on campus, members of the community, and people doing good things. I'm Dante Sinatra, and joining us today is Jack Sullivan, who is the Director of Athletics here at CCM. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. How's your day going today?
It's going well, a little cold, but
yeah.
We can deal with it.
Yeah, it's winter. What do you expect?
Yes.
So I'm very interested of your job here today in CCM. So I want to see what is your day like on campus?
Well, it's interesting right now. I'm wearing a lot of different hats. I come in, I usually take care of some of the equipment needs that we have for the student athletes, and then I sit down, usually go through my emails, transmissions from other organizations, other schools regarding contracts, upcoming events, and then I deal a lot of eligibility questions. Academic eligibility is a big thing that we have to deal with, so I spend a lot of time with that. On a weekly basis, we have our region meetings. I hold office in Region 19. I'm the men's director, and I'm also the chairman of the basketball committee. So it's a very busy time of year for me, and I deal with a lot of the ins and outs of the basketball season for the region as well as CCM, and so it keeps me busy.
Yeah. I heard you. So you like basketball, right? You love coaching it.
Yes.
How do you feel about watching it?
I'm not a good passenger. You know, I don't like to sit on the sideline. I either like to play or coach it. Watching it from the sideline as just a fan doesn't really sit well with me.
I get that. So actually, recently the Super Bowl was just yesterday.
Yes.
How did you think of the game?
I enjoyed the defensive battles. Their defensive lines for both teams played extraordinarily well. Doesn't make for a very exciting up and down the field game, but yeah. I really appreciate that. Being a Giant fan and knowing when they won their championships, it was from their defensive line. So I was good to see that kind of game, and I like the way it turned out at the end.
Yeah, well, I'm a Giants fan too. So seeing Odell getting a trophy, I feel pretty good.
Somewhat,
yeah. And then he
bittersweet. How's that sound?
Yeah. So I heard through your time at CCM, you've been here since 2002. That's almost 20 years, and that's a good accolade to have. And you got many awards from that, including in 2013-14, you got the Under Armour Athletics Director Award. You got the Region XIX Ron Case Award in 2018. What do those awards mean to you?
Well, the first award he had mentioned was the Under Armour Athletic Director of the Year. It came with my affiliation of NADICA, which is the National 2-Year Alliance for Athletic Associations, as well as NACDA, which is the 4-year and 2-year schools. It's our parent organization. It's our affinity group. And that award being given by them means a lot to me. It came from my peers, so it's a nice feather in my cap. It's never really been about me, so I really don't get all glassy-eyed about awards per se, but it just shows that our department works very, very hard, and they recognize that.
Yeah.
The Ron Case Award, which is more of a regional award, Region 19, which I give you an idea of what we are. Region 19 is our organization under the NJCA, which is the National Junior College Athletic Association. There are 24 regions. Region 19 is what we, County College of Morris is in, we compete in. It goes from Scranton all the way down to Delaware, and all the schools in between are part of Region 19. Ron Case was a long-time athletic director with millions of accolades, Hall of Fame status from Gloucester Community College, which is now Rowan College of South Jersey. They changed their name, but he was a long-time athletic director there and a good friend of mine. He was a mentor to me. So to be given that award for my involvement within the region it's an honor.
That's right. Yeah, I'm always that type of person. It's always talk about those type of people. It's not really about me. It's about the people around that surround. Mm-hmm. And that's always that's the mentality I always go through with a lot of things.
I can appreciate that. Me being in this environment right now is not a comfort zone for me. I don't like being in front of the camera. I like to be behind the scenes. Mm-hmm. setting our student athletes up and our coaches up to succeed. That's really what I'm about.
I like that. That's definitely something I usually try and go by, and I really appreciate that. And so you were a basketball coach.
Yes.
So did you coach anywhere else besides here at CCM or?
No, actually, I never coached here at the County College of Morris.
Oh, really? Okay.
One of the contingencies when I was honored to get this job was I'm an administrator. I'm no longer a coach. So I had to hang up my whistle and my clipboard, per se. I was a baseball coach and assistant basketball coach at Fairleigh Dickinson University.
Yeah.
I had played there, graduated, and went right into the coaching aspect of it. And then I received the head basketball coaching position at Bloomfield College, and I was there for a few years before coming here. So I did my college coaching for many years, and I enjoyed it. The best part about the coaching aspect of it was to see someone that you recruit come in, work very, very hard, have success, and then move on in their lives. And so that was the best part about it. Now coming here to County College of Morris, I get to do the same thing. I don't really get to recruit the student athletes, but I get to recruit the coaches. I get to hire the right person for the position, watch them, give them enough support so they can succeed. And then I get to see the student athletes move on to four-year schools. So I like to see my levels of success, their little benchmarks along the way. So I still feel like I'm a coach at heart. I just get to coach my coaches now.
Obviously, you coach many students. So how do you? How does it feel? How's it feel seeing like those kids grow up in the teams and how they leave? How does it feel?
It's about the relationships, and over the years, whether it be at Fairleigh Dickinson, Bloomfield, or County College of Morris, you build relationships with these students. You help support them, and they do remember that, they do appreciate that. So when I get a note dropped back to me, or I get to see them, succeed somewhere down the road, it makes you feel good. So that's what it's all about.
That's good. That's really cool. Seeing what life of a coach is, and then becoming the director of CCM. There's definitely a difference between those two. One, you're controlling a lot.
Yes.
You're controlling a team, but then you're also having control of all the athletics.
One of the things when you become an administrator is you get to have a family life. Being a coach, you are either scouting, recruiting, playing, or practicing. So it was round the clock, and you never get to really be a family person. And I have several children, so I had the opportunity when I became an administrator to really be involved with their lives growing up, as far as whether it be athletics or color guard or band or stuff like that. So I was really integral, and it afforded me that opportunity, which is great.
Yeah, I played soccer, so I know about scouts. Like always during high school games, there's always like one scout in the crowd.
Yeah.
So always looking at a player.
That's what it was. My daughter was a very into soccer. So yes, you hit a note there with me. I got to live it. I got to see the whole thing go, and she had success. So it was. You're definitely going to have coaches out there looking and scouting, and that's what we really want our coaches doing, especially in the Morris County area. We want our coaches out there talking to these high school programs, bringing student athletes to us, and then we see them have success and move on to four-year schools.
That's good. Aaron, you talked about Fairleigh Dickinson. How was that?
It was nice. It's a beautiful campus down in Madison. It's a family affair, I guess you could say. My mother worked in the Rutherford campus of Fairleigh Dickinson University when I was growing up. Okay. My sisters all went to FDU Teaneck. I met my wife at FDU Madison, and my daughter just recently graduated from FDU. They changed the name to College at Florham. So she just graduated this past May from there. So I have a history there, let's put it that way. And we continue that history by my daughter graduating. So it's nice. It's a very beautiful campus.
That's cool. That's cool. Also, I did a little research. You were also in Bloomfield, right?
Yes, Bloomfield College for 2 years. Head basketball coach, had a lot of success there. My assistant coach took over, and he just kept the ball rolling, and he's had a phenomenal career at Bloomfield College. And it was great to see some of the young men that we brought in there graduate and have the success they've had. They've had some tremendous success there.
Obviously, athletics is in your name, so obviously we heard about your daughter likes soccer, play basketball. What is a sport that you like to watch?
Baseball.
baseball?
I'm a big Yankee fan. My son's very much into watching the Yankees with me. We do fantasy baseball together, and he's a junior at high school right now, and he plays on the high school team. So I got to coach him and for many years for whether it be travel baseball, Little League. So I'm really involved with that. That's our favorite sport.
Unfortunately, I'm a Mets fan, so...
That's okay.
Yeah, it's okay.
You can win the off season again. We'll win it during the regular season. That's the Yankee way.
I got you. I got you. So, yeah, so I was wondering, like, with COVID going on, and has that obviously made it harder for your job, right?
It had a huge impact on athletics in general throughout the country. But when it first started, March 13th, I guess you could say, of 2020, that was right up against our regular spring break time. And during spring break, our baseball and softball teams would go south, whether it be fly to Florida or drive down to Myrtle Beach for, to play, to get away from the cold weather. Mm-hmm. We had to cancel it there. And that was the very unfortunate, but that wasn't just a decision we made on our own. It was the right decision, but that started what we ran into for the next 18 months. Mm-hmm. The following year, we pushed all of our athletic programs from the fall semester into the spring. So we had a season, per se, for all of our teams, but it was limited for good reason. We had protocols put in place for their safety, but we were able to keep them engaged, keep them occupied, keep them competing, and keep them focused on their grades. So it worked out very, very well. This year it opened up a little bit. We had a regular fall where our volleyball team competed in our men's soccer team. The winter programs are competing right now. We had a little bit of a bump on the road as far as the Omicron variant, where we shut down fan access and the access to our fitness center, stuff, just a little limited basis, just to keep our student athletes safe, keep the fans safe, and keep the campus safe. So with a little bit of changes, but if you're an athletic director or you're an administrator, you're putting fires out all the time. And these are just little hurdles that we have to overcome to keep doing what you want to do. And the administration here at the college, with tremendous support, allowed us to continue to go and continue to compete as long as we put these protocols in place, which we followed to the letter.
That's good. It's very tough. Actually, now we're going to take a quick break.
Sure.
Please stay tuned, and we'll be right back.
I'm Andrea Lucia, a graduate of County College of Morris. At CCM, I gained a high-quality education, was involved with clubs on campus, and performed university research in tissue engineering. My CCM education prepared me for ongoing success. Today, I am at Cornell University, studying engineering and performing research in cardiac tissue engineering. The professors and staff at CCM helped me to start right and finish strong.
And we're back on CCM All Access. I'm Dante Sinatra, and we're here with Jack Sullivan, Director of Athletics at CCM. So I wanted to go back into what the whole COVID experience was like. So you mentioned it was really hard, having events canceled back and forth. So you have mostly run stuff remote. How is that?
Well, the student athletes were remote for their classes, but we had in-person training for the coaches and the staff with protocols in place where they had to, any advance notification for any kind of symptoms they had to go through. And then that was last year. And it worked out well. We were able to compete on a limited basis off campus, following strict protocols that the region put into place as well. It was a challenge. It wasn't hard. I mean, hard is, that's things you can't really accomplish. We were able to accomplish a lot. It was difficult, yes. It was a challenge, yes, but I think we overcame it and did a very good job. And we had a lot of success as well. So it was rewarding for them and rewarding for me. It was because, like I said, to overcome these challenges and be able to compete and do what we do on a daily basis, it was very, very good. Some of the things that we went through this year were on a lesser scale. Things are starting to open up again, and it makes things a little bit easier per se, but there's still protocols that are in place right now. And I could see them down the road loosening up a little bit more. But knock wood, thank you, we've been very healthy. We've had very limited positive tests. A lot of them came over break when people went home, so we had to be careful when everybody came back. We did our testing, we did our vaccinations, we did what we were asked to do. So.
Yeah, it was very tough. It was very tough. Like those first few years. Obviously, I was in high school at the time, so it was like it was very tough, like just for the students. But I just didn't know how it was for like the teachers, the directors, all like the board of ed, of how they went through it.
Well, we were able to transition to Zoom quickly for the classes. The school did a great job communicating with the students. They, shut it down for a little bit, got everything up and running. Professors, everybody got on board. Technology was in place, and seamless transition. We like to think, but what you mentioned earlier, which was it kind of resonates, and you can't believe it. Yeah, the first few years, I was like, it was a long time.
It was a long time.
And we've been dealing with this for a long time, so we're used to it now, unfortunately. But whether we go back or how things used to be, we never know. But I think we've embraced the technology and we've been able to benefit from that. There are certain benefits. Zoom is now a common thing we do. We did some training over that. We have meetings over that. It saves on travel. So there's a lot of benefits that we were able to take advantage of.
Yeah, it was hard. It's definitely it was a very hard time, and yeah, I really did feel for some. I did feel for some of the teachers that actually had to go through that, especially when it was like pretty instant, because it was like one day you were here at school, and then the other day, we're home on Zoom now, and it's just like an instant.
Yeah, everybody had to change a little bit of their daily operations. One of the biggest things how it impacted our programs per se was, and this is across the region and across the NJCA, is women's programs suffered the most. A lot of student athletes decided that, I have to focus on my academics. I'm kind of in lockdown. Let me just focus here and really take a step back from athletics for a little bit. So we had a little bit, and we're seeing the rebound effect now, where they're coming back to us, which is good. We want to keep going in the positive trending to get the women's student athletes back on the field, on the court, and that's what we do. And so we'll just go out and recruit and keep working towards that.
Speaking of your women's sports group, how are your sports group in CCM? How do you think they're doing this year, and how well has the program flourished through the years?
I'm proud of our accomplishments. Our women's volleyball team won the Region 19 championship this past year. We went down to Maryland for the districts, which was one step away from nationals. We had a core group of young ladies that were sophomores and will be graduating, but they did a great job. They won back-to-back region championships, so they've tasted a lot of success there. Our women's basketball team right now, we're club status. They work very, very hard. We're trying to build the roster back up. That's one of the casualties that we were having, but we faced it across the region. A lot of teams went club. A lot of teams canceled completely. So we were in a good position to compete, and they do compete, and they compete very well. So we're very eager about the future with our women's basketball team. We have a new women's soccer coach who's here. He's just recruiting. Every single day he comes in, he's recruiting hard to bring the roster up to a big number, and so we can get back to that national status that we've enjoyed in the past. Women's softball, they're the ones I feel the worst for, and baseball. We were just coming off a national tournament appearance of 2019, and we had a sophomore group that returned to us from that national team, and they started our first couple games and had a lot of success, and then March 13th hit, and we had to cancel everything. A lot of those girls went on to four-year schools, so we're talking about a program that was, up here, elite status, back-to-back region championships, district championship, going to the nationals, and doing very, very well in Mississippi for the nationals. That group all have left, due to graduation, and they moved on to four-year schools. So we have a whole new group of young ladies that are here. We didn't go to spring break last year as well, and we're not going anywhere on spring break this year, which is one of the enticements for student athletes to come here and compete, is we like to travel in the South, but we couldn't do it last 2 years. We have a new coach. Our longtime coach, Greg Wardlow, retired. He moved on. He moved to California, all during COVID. A lot of transition. And so we have a new coach. We have a new coaching staff in place. We have a new roster in place, and we're looking forward to compete as well. Our baseball team also had a transition. Our longtime head baseball coach, Brian Eberly, took over the Drew University baseball job.
Wow.
So he's left us, and a lot of the student athletes have transitioned out. So we have a new roster, we have a new coaching staff in place, and we're eagerly looking forward to the spring. Golf, we have a longtime coach, Jim Chewigan. He's been here for a very long time. He's done a very good job. That team has been to the Nationals year in, year out.
Yeah.
So we're expecting big things from them. They won the region and Garden State Athletic Conference Championship last year. No pressure, Jim, but we expect to win it again this year.
I heard a lot about the golf team going into this interview, and I want the success from the golf team is crazy because it was also recent. So how was that golf team like since it started and until now? How what'd you think of it?
I'm always impressed with their success. I am a butcher on the golf course. I can hit the ball a country mile, but it usually takes a right-hand turn after about 200 yards. Jim does a great job. He's a very good golfer, and he's serious about what he does. Coach Chewigan, he goes out and recruits student athletes, practices. He's demanding, expects a lot of them, and they benefit from his regiment, let's put it that way. And the proof is in the pudding. And a lot of success, a lot of young men move on to bigger and better things after coming here for 2 years. We've had women on the program as well, so it's a co-ed golf team. We're eager to get more women involved, but Jim does a great job. And one of my first experience here at the County College of Morris was the first year I made it, one student athlete made nationals for golf, and it was out in close to Erie, New York, which is 6 hours away. So I drove him out to nationals, dropped him off so he could compete, and came home. I got a call once I got home, oh, he can't stay here by himself. You have to be here with him. So I got back in my car, drove all the way back out, and stayed with him for a week. He did very well, and he later became our assistant coach, golf coach, Mike Margul, great young man. But I learned the hard way. At the time, it was a different head coach, so he couldn't spend the week with them. But it was quite an interesting trip, let's put it that way. Back and forth, 6-hour trips from one day. So, but that was a sign of good things to come, because that team since has grown, and the team has made nationals and done very, very well.
Yeah, you do a lot of miles as you go back and forth.
I'd say.
There's a lot to go into a team like that.
Yeah.
So I have it's an interesting question.
Hit me.
If you were to have football here at CCM, would you be able to do it?
It would take an unbelievable amount of infrastructure to be put in place. It would take full-time jobs, which are difficult to get. They're very expensive with health benefits and stuff like that. You would need another trainer. You would need 2 administrators or a head coach and a defensive offensive coordinator. We're talking about startup costs of probably over, close to $250,000 equipment. You need a facility. We don't have a football field. We don't have any kind of goals. We have a soccer field. You stick goals on it, that'd be all well and good, but it's during the same time of year as soccer, so we'd have to find another venue. And then when you transport 100 student athletes, you can't do it in vans. That's how so you're going to have an army of buses, and then meal money. So startup would be about $250,000. It's a financial thing, but then you would need the infrastructure put in place as far as the personnel. So that's the biggest challenge. While I'm a big football fan, obviously we watch the Super Bowl, and we're Giants fans, so we love football. It would be difficult to do here.
Yeah.
Plus, there's only a handful of teams in the country to play.
That's very true.
So that's another thing. So you would have to travel well out of state just to find competition.
Yeah. That's very true. I wanted to go over what are your goals in 2022? What do you want to accomplish until the spring semester ends, and whenever the next semester comes over? What are your goals?
My goal is always to have student athletes that represent the college, their coaching staff, the program, the athletic department, and the college to the highest degree. We like to see their academics always going up and up and up. A goal is to always have academic All-Americans as well as athletic All-Americans. So we can do those things that are quantitative. We can look at their grades, we can give them the support they need and point them in the right direction. But we want that. We always like to see success on and off the field. It's the academic ones that really are my goal. I want to make sure that they understand they're here for the right reason, and I think that's a message that I've been loud and clear about since I've walked through the door. Academics first. We're student athletes, not athletes. We don't expect any kind of special treatment in the classroom. As a matter of fact, we hold them to a higher standard. We have a new program. Stop saying You're not supposed to say in interviews. Yes. Esports is a new program.
Oh.
The institution has made a nice investment in the program with a new venue with high-end computers. We have new staff. Coach Eric Guardero, a professor here, is our head coach. I like to see them have a lot of success. They've started competing. They are in our new facility located on the lower level at HPE. And it's a really nice facility. I encourage people to stop by. It's open on Wednesday mornings from 9 to 12. That's when they have their practice sessions and open kind of rec in the esports lounge. They compete on Tuesday nights. They're part of the NACE program where they compete against other 4-year schools and 2-year schools throughout the country. So I'd like to see them continue their success. Now, wrapping around to the end of this academic year towards the following year, we're looking at the addition of 2 new programs. We are adding men's volleyball, which is spring of '23, and then we are looking at women's bowling for fall of '23. So we're eager about the addition of new programs. We're eager about the addition of openings that we have in our administrative positions right now for our staff, for the athletic department, and we're just continuing our progression towards the transition out of COVID. I look forward to that. My goal is to no longer wear a mask and just keep moving forward, open up the fitness center and continuing on the success we've had in the past. Some other things that we have that are upcoming. We, in 2019, started our first inaugural Hall of Fame. We had an induction ceremony of November of '19, and we had a great, successful program with the help of the foundation. And we're having another induction this upcoming fall. So that's in the programming and process and planning stages right now. None of that would have been able to be possible without the foundation's help, without the support of Dr. Iacona, president, Dr. Simmons. And we also have our golf outing every fall. That's a tradition. That raises money for scholarships or events that we're working on. When will this air? Because I don't want to let something out. Do we know when this is going to air?
It'll be aired pretty soon.
Okay, because on the 19th we're having a very special unveiling of a dedication of our gymnasium to a former administrator. I don't want to let the cat out of the bag, but one of the things we've been planning for a long time is to honor someone very special to us involved with athletics. So we have a very special event coming up on the 19th, and we're eager. Hopefully this isn't going to air ahead of time and I let it out of the bag, so I'm leaving the details up. But none of that would have been made possible without the golf outing, the support of the alumni. And so we're building on that, and we're having the Hall of Fame, and we're having dedication ceremonies. So we're doing things behind the scenes that are going to help the college, helps enrollment, it helps, advertise, it helps all these things. And we talked about our new logo. Those are the exciting things that we're pushing. We're pushing upward, so we're excited.
That's really great to hear.
I went on a little bit too long there. I apologize. I get excited about certain things.
It's great to hear this because you see how much CCM is growing with their athletic program.
Yes.
It's just great. It's great to have you here today, learning about what the new things to come, all that great stuff. I want to thank you for coming today. This has been another edition of CCM All Access. Thank you for tuning in, and we will see you next time.